a rivalry between North and Southern African powerhouses dating back 26 years, bubbles under in the Tunisian capital of Tunis at the Olympic Hamadi Agrabi Stadium, where the Beast of Africa, Esperance, take on Bafana Bastille, Mamelodi Sundowns in the first leg semi-final clash of the CAF Champions League. These former champions are square off in the knockout stages for the third season in a row. In as far as the Champions League, they've met on no less than 10 occasions in the past. This is the 11th meet. Esperance do have the upper hand over Mamelodi Sundowns in as far as the head-to-head meets, and well, their supporters have turned out here hoping for the positive first leg encounter here against Mamelodi Sundowns. Keep in mind, both these sides did finish second in their groups, and well, they come into this encounter confident of what should be a positive result ahead of the away leg away in South Africa. Keeping in mind, they also would have been very impressed with the last time this side did travel on the Champions League stages, where they went away to mighty Al-Ahly out in Egypt and came from behind to win with a 3-2 scoreline in what was a truly unbelievable match in the way of quality and one of the best matches so far in as far as the CAF Champions League group on knockout stages in this campaign. For Mamelodi Sundowns, the former champions from Southern Africa, the one side that, well, does more often than not in recent years represent the tip of the continent so proudly. They have been here before. They've been up against the very best on the continent before. Keeping in mind, they themselves will be confident of their last encounters here as far as the season gone by, where they met them in the knockout stages, and it's a pleasure of course, knocking out Esperance with the 1-0 scoreline on the way to losing out in the final. Well, we continue to tell the story of the exciting, ever so exciting 2025-26 CAF Champions League here on SABC Sport. And on that note, a very good evening it is to you as both these sides line up here, quality on either side of the field here. To the left of your picture, Mamelodi Sundowns, to the right, the home side in Esperance. They'll know so much about each other, and I feel like it's a case of deja vu, especially for the players that have been there for quite some time here and have been a part of the rivalry between these two sides that goes back to the year 2000s. Well, there will be players looking to make an impact here on both sides, players that can be match winners in a game that will be officiated by Omar Aftan, the man from Somalia. Mogadishu also officiated, of course, some important games, including being the first Somalian to officiate the major game between Sundowns and Pyramids, where Pyramids, of course, were crowned African champions a year ago. And for the home side, it's all about that positive start. Sundowns haven't been great in the way of their travel so far in this current campaign, and they'll be hoping to be able to keep things together and keep things nice and tight in protecting Ronwen Williams here and ensuring that they do frustrate this passionate and a typical Northern African support base here that will be loud and proud in the way they get behind Esperance, the home side. All will be looking for a good showing here, and it's looking as though it's the best foot forward from both sides here. Maybe one or two surprises from a Esperance point of view in the way of their starting 11. Diakite on the bench, Diara, another that will start this evening's clash on the bench, but still the squad they put out here looks absolutely solid in the way of the starting 11. But I will hope to put them in the, right frame of mind here in the early stages as they hope to get a huge advantage ahead of the team in your picture. So we'll look for their best away performance since that 5-1 drubbing of the Nigerian side went back in the group stages when they had their last great showing on the African continent in the way of this year's tournament, that being for Mamelodi Sundowns. Yeah, so they look for a much improved showing in the way of their away travels, whilst for the side here, they hardly lose at home, they hardly concede at home, and that can be said in all competitions here. And looking at their starting 11, Ben Said was absolutely outstanding between the sticks in a game where he conceded 2 goals against Al-Ahly, and defensively, well, they look to Jalasi as well as Tugai, I should say, to keep things nice and tight, as has been the case throughout the season. They've got the 19-year-old Konate, was exciting in the middle of the park, and of course the Frenchman Daniel in the attacking areas. Sitting alongside me, I've got the pleasure of introducing 𝐌𝐚𝐦𝐿 Jacobs.
bosego jo bontle mo Afrika Borwa bosego jo bontle sizwe re kopana jalo mo twetso jaaka bona le nane la setlhopha sa menwana phezulu Mamelodi Sundowns mo na le nosi yonileng karolo ya setlhopha se se neng sa bona metale ngwaga wa 2016 eleng jalo James Thapelo Morena a simolla motshameko mo letsatsing la gompieno fa o lebella kwa morago ga dikotama o kgona go bona setshwantsho se tlhomphona bua ka sone kgantele ekete o bona jalo baeskopo e tsitsibanya mmele e tshusanga seo se tshamekela mo ditlhaloganyong tse segolo thata jang mo ba ba gorogileng fa jaaka bayenga mo motshamekong motho wa etso ntwa ya dinaga tse peditse 1996 e ne e se ditlhopha e ne le ditlhopha tsa bosetšhaba ke motlhale ba la makgaolo a kgangao mo ntwa bosalamapa jwa Afrika Borwa le naga ya Tunisia di simolotseng gone ngwaga wa 2026 ke bao gape jaanong ke ditlhopha Mamelodi Sundowns e emetse Afrika Borwa setlhopha sa Esperance ba emetse jalo setlhopha sa totanaga ya Tunisia le tletse lebala go sena fa o kgwela mathe gone kgangkgang e tlile go jang kgawana go tlile go nna thata Sizwe Mabena.
Well, it is Sundowns that will get to this game underway here at the 𝐿𝐴𝐻 𝐒𝐻𝐵𝐾𝐫𝐚𝐧𝐬 Capacity 65,000 both between 1998 and 2001. Hosted 6 matches at the 2004 AFCON. Boy, of course, the record attendance was set, and that was in the AFCON final with Tunisia, the 2-1 win over Morocco. This is, of course, located out in Rades, the suburb of Rades, south of the city of Tunis. Sundowns in the blue and white to attack the left of your picture. Ronwen Williams already starting this game from outside of his box in being one of the first players to get a touch of the ball, which may very well set the tone for what may unfold during the course of the evening. Esperance in the golden reds attacking the goal to the right of your picture. Of course, this game played in Tunis, the capital and largest city of Tunisia, 11th largest city in the Arab world, situated on the Gulf of the Tunis, behind the lake of Tunis. Already you can feel the passion coming from out in the stands here in the early exchanges. Well, whether it is in Egypt, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, you get pretty much the same in the way of passion and true support with supporters that arrive hours, I'm talking hours before kickoff. You have to select their spots and ensure that they do provide a hostile welcoming for the opponents. 𝐿𝐴𝐻 starting out to that left back position. Keeping him in mind, Obrumadiba, of course, did pick up the red card out in the loss to the side that had the beating of Sundowns. Stade Malien also had the beating of Esperance in the group stages. So both these sides will have lost to Stade Malien away from home. Patrice Bumel, then who joined in February of this year from France originally. Here's the man that leads Esperance, of course. So here's Mokoena involved nice and early. He'll be crucial, of course, to the Sundowns cause in the middle of the park, playing alongside the likes of Allende and Adams. They can dictate the tempo if allowed to do so. Well, Miguel Cardoso, the 53-year-old from Portugal, 78th match now at Mamelodi Sundowns. Comes into this match having had 49 wins, 16 draws and 12 losses. 64% win percentage out at Sundowns. He had a 60% win percentage in his time out at Esperance. Key figure, one would feel, in this encounter, in the way that he is the man that did lead Esperance to the win. 2-0 in the semi-finals on the aggregate scoreline back in 2024. As you'd expect, Ronwen Williams already coming in for more touches than anybody else in the early stages, and who has won the African Football League. He's won just about everything there is to win on the domestic side out in the PSL. In his time at Mamelodi Sundowns and SuperSport United, the one trophy that is missing, you'll feel from his trophy cabinet, from a club point of view, will be the Champions League, taking his time about things here before launching one long towards the Colombian. Beautiful take from Muniz, supported here by Lunga. Salez, he is nice on it. As the months have gone by in his time at Sundowns, he has looked nicer and more comfortable, especially on the continent as well. Morena starting out wide on that far side here for Mamelodi Sundowns, bring experience and will give them a good effort on both sides of the field. Lunga rushed into the pass down the line. Movement is good here from Salez. Good tempo, good start from Sundowns. Adams looking for the movement from Morena out on that far side. Well, out in Mali, where the temperature was up to 38, 39 degrees in the day, the likes of Adams, Salez, and 𝐿Mokwena did struggle in the opening, 15, 30 minutes of that encounter. Conceding early and, needing to hold on to the 3-0 aggregate scoreline they brought into that second leg clash. Winning 3-2 on aggregate at the end of it all on a day where they collectively had to suffer to ensure they booked their place here in Tunis this evening. Well, he's been nicely involved in these early stages. Up to Salez. Sundowns thought about taking the set piece quickly. Allende spotted the keeper off his line, although Ben Said won't allow him the mental edge for the disallowed goal scored. As you'd expect, the individual duels already quite physical in these early stages. 𝐿Mokwena. Jaden Adams. There is 𝐿Mokwena again. Brayan is tearing up this near side here, giving problems to 𝐶𝐬𝐩𝐸. If he can, operating out wide in the right back position. The man born in Bamako, Mali, but does play his international football for Mauritania. Standing at 193. Ben Said organizing defensively here. Second season for him to Esperance. Positive start here from a Sundowns point of view in the way of being in and around the opposition final thirds. Find themselves a corner, chance from a dead ball situation to maybe come up with the early shock here, ball into the near post. Esperance able to deal with the danger, looking for Sasse's done well to avoid the initial challenge. Couldn't keep the counter-attack alive, however. Allende thought he was fouled, nothing wrong with the challenge, says the referee. So, Esperance it is with 3 in the box, another 2 arriving. Sundowns doing enough to slow them down initially and protecting that near post corner it will be. So, biting off start here, inside the opening 7 minutes. Sundowns with the early corner, could respond to this from Esperance. Will they get their chance to get a dead ball situation? 𝐶𝐬𝐸𝐸. Everybody back defending for Sundowns. Decker keeping it moving in the middle of the park. Interesting when one keeps an eye on the individual duels right through the field so far. 𝐿Mokwena then unable to get the better of Mudau out wide on that far side. Belly, the man from Nigeria, playing just in front of the back four. Still 22 years of age, man who's played for Nigeria at under 20 and under 23 level. There's Konate, the Ivorian, of course. To have players from different parts of the world to Esperance, one from Brazil, one from France in the starting 11. Mentioned Mauritania, including Algeria. Here they are on the up and up here. Good movement off the ball as they're getting behind the defense. The early ball in, looking for Daniel. Too close to Ronwen Williams, but bright work being done out in the wide areas. Now, 𝐿Mokwena with the turn. Muniz rolls the defender. Outnumbered, wins the decision. Protected the ball beautifully. Did Brayan Leon Muniz on that occasion. Three goals and 6 appearances in the Champions League. Sundowns fans will love the fact that it didn't take him too long to start to find the back of the net, and he's find his way in the way of football on the continent. Doing well in the local game, doing well in the Champions League as well. It's been a great arrival for the Colombian in the attacking areas for Mamelodi Sundowns. Williams again going along the run coming from Tapelo Morena. Keep in mind, he can play just about anywhere on the field and will allow a coach or any coach that wishes to do so to swap formations while he's on the field. He can play as a striker, can play out wide as the winger and as the wing back. Now, ball over the top here. Flag up against Walia. Here's the Algerian on the field here for Esperance. Played for the Algerian A side in the past with the movement here. Also played for Algeria at under 23 level. So, get to feel some of the pressure the officials will be experiencing in this encounter. With every decision that may go the way of Mamelodi Sundowns here. With Allende having plenty to say with the referee then. Well, 10 minutes gone by. I think it's safe to say no player out there has seen more of the ball than Ronwen Williams, or had more touches than Ronwen Williams. Here's 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐻 losing out, and Sundowns now with Allende. Space opening up on this near side. Mokoena under pressure and trying to keep it moving and dropping back. Then Daniel is the man that commits the next foul here. Sundowns will look to get onto the front foot. Adams, the man that's been brought down. 10 minutes gone by, lively enough start here in the first leg semi-final clash between Esperance and Mamelodi Sundowns. OJ.
Fa ono ipotsa gore goreng Teboho Mokoena o ntse a sa tshameke go tswa jalo mo tshimologong ya metshameko e ntse feta ya liga. O kgona go lemoga jaanong gore lebaka legolo le motshameko. Miguel Cardoso mo metshamekong e le mmalwa e ntse feta ya liga ya Sundowns. O ntse a dirisa jalo mrembola go tswa jalo kwa bankeng. Ona lebeletse motshameko. A re bone jalo the sensational Jaden Adams. O e ba jalo mo tseleng ya ga Maselo. Go fitlela ga jana Sundowns kgona go lemoga gore tsela ba e bona lesedi ba le bona kwa ba yang gone the Brazilians. A re bone Ronwen Williams. Romela Khwele fela ba tswa ka yone jalo the Beast of Africa. Ha re bone ba tla dirang go kwa pele the Beast. Fela ba kgona go sireletsa kwa morago Afrika Borwa Mamelodi Sundowns e be tsela ka kwa ntle mo tsereganyo ka jalo gore kgwele ya go tloswa le setlhopha sa the Brazilians. Go tletse go tlhelele ka kwano mo lebaleng la ma. Go tletse go tlhelele Hamadi Agrebe Stadium. Lebala le setlhopha se le se dirisang mo metshamekong ya bone ya liga. Ditshimega makgetlo a le mane mo nomananyo Miguel Cardoso o kila katisa mo go sona setlhopha se mona wa Miguel Cardoso. Ba go tlosa kwa morago the Brazilians tare mo bekeng e tlang ka la matlhatso. Ditsela tsotlhe di tla bo di lebile jalo ka kwama. South Africa's capital city ka kwa Motsemoshate kwa Tshwane kwa Pretoria. Loftus Versfeld ke go tla bo re le gone mo bekeng e tlang le gatola bobedi la motshameko. Ba khatamaye mona wa Divine Lunga. A re bone Brayan ratola ga jalo Dano a romela kwa pele ba putse kwa morago Sundowns. A re bone gore kgwele tla nna kotsi fela ba senya kgwele e ratola ga jalo kama e be ratola ga jalo. A re bone Sundowns ba tla dirang Brayan Leon ba le ka go tswa ka lebelo sireletsa jalo kwa morago ba sireletsa kwa morago Tunisia tata Mamelodi Sundowns ba itlosetse ka bona go kgwileo Marcelo Allende o e tshameka jalo le Tebza Mrembula e ka wana le belegetsweng ka kwa botlhokong ka kwa botlhaba jwa porofense ya Foreisetata. Re bone simolola jalo mo tseleng ya gago molemo 𝐤𝐸𝐤𝐿𝐲 tshamekela jalo mo South Africa's #1 wa lebela Ronwen Williams tlhabela jalo kwa pele fela bia go tswela ka kwa ntle fetoga jalo go natatlhelo 𝐤𝐸𝐤𝐿𝐲 ya go tloswa le tatlhelo ya setlhopha sa Esperance Apen Hamida ke ena go akgelang kgwele dingwaga di le 30 mona yo wa Apen Hamida a ba itlosetse kgwele ba simolola kwa morago mo tseleng ya ga 𝐤𝐸𝐤𝐴 o bona jalo le ka wana la Brahim Keita romela kwa pele Brahim bona Afrika Borwa bona Mamelodi Sundowns sireletsa kwa morago a ba sireletsa kwa morago go molemo Grant Kekana ya go tloswa le sekhutlo ba tsweletse ba ba rotloetsa wa itse ka gale fa go tliwa mo bokone jwa kontinente fa go tliwa jalo mo dinageng di tshwana le Egepto naga ya Morocco naga ya Tunisia naga ya Algeria go tlala ka gale phulela a romela kgwele ntle a bone thula go morago ba sireletsa Ronwen Williams e ntse le mo karolong ya kotsi a bone Hamida a ba koba Afrika bona ba iatlharela go morago Ronwen Williams a ba iatlharela go morago Ronwen Williams ba ne ba tlhasela fela ba kgona go sireletsa kwa morago setlhopha sa Mamelodi Sundowns Thapelo ba batla jalo Brayan fela ya go retologa jalo ka Mudnayom ya go retologa jalo ka Keita le fa belegetse kwa Mali Monayo wa Keita o tshamekela setlhopha sa ka kwa Mauritania sa bosetšhaba le fa belegetse ka kwa nageng ya Mali romela kwa pele ba e baka kwa ntle ba re kwa ntle ke botshabelo tshameketse lobaka Cape Town City Monayo wa Kena Cupido a re kwa ntle ke botshabelo Brahim ba monna fa fatshe motsereganye monna wa ka kwa Algeria motshameko o tsamaisiwa jalo ke bana ba ka kwa Nigeria Mustafa Kopela ba eteletse pele a re bone Ben Said Keita go ga ka morago ka lotola molema fela motsereganye a re kgwele ne tlile mola dikgwele di pedi mo lebaleng motsereganye o ba laela jalo gore tlosang kgwele o sešha setse di le pedi mo lebaleng dikgwele e ba itsere ka kwa ntle le ka wana la Keita monna wa ka kwa nageng ya Mali tse gore sefane sa Keita bontsi jwa le ba nako se tswa jalo ka koo baopedi ba tswa koo sefane sa Keita na ba akaretsa bo Salif Keita Ronwen Williams yo a romelang le tele kwa pele fela ga gona kwa yang gone lebeletse tshameko ya gagwe ya sešeng jana Ronwen Williams bontsi jwa nako o dirisa dinao go feta diatla motshameki wa bolesome le bo mothakare motshameki wa bolesome le bongwe dirisa diatla o neeletsana bontsi jwa nako dikgwele go tswa kwa morago me mokgotlangane ka gone kwa morago go tle go segisimala Apen Said mokaubere le ne fo mona jara ngwaga di 13 mona yo Apen Said romela kwa pele Thula Keno mona dirisa bokete jwa mele fela motsereganya re torimasane motshameko wa phepa o tswelele pele a re bone jalo divine a ba itshamekela jalo a ba itsikelo to gape ya go retologa jalo ka mona wa kona total ka wana la ama ya retologa jalo ka le ka wana la Hosem Tikap tsereganya re Brahim akgela kgweleao ba ya kgile Esperance ya go tloswa le kgwele ya ga 𝐤𝐸𝐻 bontsi jwa nako dikgwele di tshamekelwa ka fa letlhakoreng la ga 𝐤𝐸𝐻 Brayan bontsi jwa nako re bona dikgwele di le dintsi di tshamekela ka kwa letlhakoreng le la moja monanyo thano o belegetswe jalo ka kwa Toulouse kwa nageng ya fora monna yo le fa a dira kgwele a tshameka kgwele ya kwa dinao mo nageng ya bona matsetseleko manontlhotlho ga monna yo wa skill ba tle ba rialo Sagathasalej Thapelo Morena a ka tswa ka lebelo jaaka bulete a ka tswa jaaka bulete fela ba tsa tshwetso ya go boela kwa morago o e ba jalo mo tseleng ya ga Jaden ga di tshamekele lebaka le lelele ga e tshware lobaka le lelele Jaden Adams mo lebelele go magararo fela ba intsha mogene ga re go gontsi re bone 𝐤𝐸𝐻𝐸 re romela le tele kwa pele ba thula ka tlhogo e kopana jalo le Thapelo a re bone Thapelo fela ba le gone kwa morago Jealousy tlhatlhola moiso Marcelo Allende fela ga ba goroge kwa go yone ba e tshamekela jalo mo tseleng ya ga Jealousy romela ka kwano thoko mo tseleng ya le ka bona la Konate tota 𝐤𝐸𝐻 be tsela ka kwantle ya go tloswa le tatlhelo ya setlhopha sa Mamelodi Sundowns go fitela ga jara mothaka re ba tsetsepetse Mamelodi Sundowns ba tsetsepetse go fitela ga jana jaaka mo tsereganya ka phoso ga tlhalong le naga ya tota setlhopha sa naga ya tennis ya setlhopha sa Esperance gore ga la tshameka sentle Tebsa Mrembula Tebogo Mokoena boela jalo kwa go sizwe a taboge ka yone.
Well, he has been a busy man, the man officiating this encounter, Mustafa Ghorbal, to owe him an apology, of course. He is from Algeria. The 40-year-old was Omar Artan, the man from Somalia I spoke of a little bit earlier, will officiate the second game between these two sides, the second leg at Loftus Versfeld in Pretoria, Louis time. So 20 minutes gone by here. Fjord is joining us. Lively enough start for Boamel and his side. Same can be said for Mamelodi Sundowns. They've got the back of the ball as you would expect, Mamelodi Sundowns, but still looking a much better outfit, much better organized here, and much more up for the fight than in their last travels on the continent out to Mali, to Stade Malien. Now, tries to push forward here for Konate as he drives forward and looks for Florian Daniel. Good challenge, lovely challenge, nothing wrong with that. As the Sundowns deal with the danger defensively. Mokoena, that's well read by 𝐤𝐸𝐻. And takes a tumble. They're allowed to continue here in favor of the home sides. Men getting stuck into the challenges here. Both these sides showing a nice bit of commitment throughout the fields. Ben Said was rushed, unable to find the teammates. Here's 𝐿'Bhelu. Does do a solid job, does the Nigerian, sitting just in front of that back four. But keeping things moving. Here he is once again. Man formerly with Nasarawa United, joined Esperance in 2023. Jaden Adams. Mokoena. Divine Lunga. Adams in recent months has forced his way back into the starting lineup here at Mamelodi Sundowns, and that's back into the fold in as far as the South African national team ahead of the World Cup, and it's looking as though we may very well have a Adams Mokoena combination in the starting match against Mexico at the World Cup, if all goes well for them. Chipido Lunga. Well, for Divine Lunga, this is the fourth season at Mamelodi Sundowns. His last start in the Champions League was back on the 28th of November. As we look back at this Wild Time Challenge, superb work by Mudau. Nothing wrong with that. Officials with a good view, making the right choice and not giving the fans what they wanted then. For 𝐿𝐼𝐴 out wide on this near side for Mamelodi Sundowns. They'll start, of course, on the 28th of November against 𝐿𝐼𝐴. That's in the Champions League where he played 84 minutes. His first start for Sundowns in all competitions since the 21st of February, where they lost 2-0 to Galaxy in the Nedbank Cup. Yes, Keita. Really does get stuck in. Brayan Lewis out in those attacking areas. You have to love his enthusiasm in that regard. Now, ball coming off the heels of Florian Darrow. Born in Toulouse, France. 3 goals he scored in this campaign since his move to Esperance. Just 8 appearances in the local league. A couple of goals he scored there. Also scored against Al-Ahly, quite importantly, in that thriller of a match. Midway point of what's been an exciting first half so far. Neither goalkeeper has really been troubled up to this point. Very even match, one could say. Sundowns maybe edging it in ball position stats, just about enjoying themselves on the ball in areas that aren't necessarily hurting Esperance as yet. Nunes again doing well in finding Morena then. He himself had done a good job of making himself an option for the drop down in for the Colombian. Abdramane Konate in his second season at Esperance, the 19-year-old worth keeping an eye on. Won the decision then. Here's Zubeli. Misdirected the header. Acrobatics in trying to get it clear at the first time of asking. And they win a couple of aerial duels here and somehow find Daniel here for Esperance. So forth they go with Boualia, the Algerian. Konate, the Ivorian. Abelu, the Nigerian. Well, the combination of Trugai as well as Jalasi will be happy with how they've protected Ben Said so far in the early stages of this match. Good movement off the ball here from Daniel. Powering forward here, the ball in isn't bad at all. Oh. Header, well blocked by well placed Mudau, who's won the set piece here. Sundowns can get it clear. I'll tell you what, Florian Dario with his movement around the final third then is giving Esperance 1 or 2 things to look at here. Now, they're appealing for a possible penalty. Esperance didn't look as though there was much to speak about in that regard. Well, he would have known, Mustafa Ghurbal, that he would have a game in his hands here this evening. Especially every time he makes a decision that doesn't favour the huge support for Esperance out there. But so far, he and his assistants have gotten off to a great start in this encounter. Tebandung under pressure. Now could be a chance for Esperance. Oh, what a challenge. Read the danger then beautifully. The Keanu Kipido and anticipated that through ball. In the end, that's the defensive player of the match so far. Allende running the risk of losing possession now. Looking for that ball over the top. Muniz with a good take once again. Morena looking for Morena. Falls here for Sanchez. Take the deflection. Out for the corner, best chance of the match so far. Well, they're looking good and full of ideas on their front foot. Wasn't the greatest of clearances initially from 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐼. To the good job of getting numbers between Ben Said and Saleh then to come up with a block. Interesting tactic this for Mamelodi Sundowns for the most part. Players starting off their positions here on this near side, on the far side from where the corner is taken. Ball played into the near post at the end of all of that. Asking just a bit too much. Was that ball in search of Thapelo Morena? He will be looking for a strong ending to the season, Morena, out in those wide areas for Mamelodi Sundowns, in the way of club football that may just rub off on his international career in the way of representing South Africa at the World Cup, if he's deemed to have a good enough ending to this campaign by Hugo Bruce. So games of this nature crucial for Morena, not only for his time at Mamelodi Sundowns and what they stand to gain then, but also on the international stage. Ayende. Salas wanted that ball quite passionately. He's a little frustrated if his body language is anything to go by at the effect that that ball didn't come to him soon enough. Here he is. Adams. Morena. Good challenge to win it back then. Boualia getting things started out to that far side. Konate now looking for Boualia once again. There's pace in that defense, there's organization and good communication in that defense. Ronwen Williams leading the charges. 30 minutes gone by. Great game of football this, with Sundowns having the best moment so far going forward, OJ.
O khona go lemoga gore monayo wa Miguel Cardoso o robetse masola ga ge bana ba dipelo di thata ba ba itseng jalo khaisano ye me monale no se yo go fitlela ga jana sa dire sentle ke thega bone tsela Divine Lunga ga ise ga ntse a tshameka go fitlela mo legatong le me ka ntlha ya fa le ka bona la Aubrey Modiba se gone patele ditse jalo go dirisa jalo Divine Lunga jano mona wa ga di le 25 mongwe ba tsameka pele ba ba diphatsa mo setlhopheng se Thunya Ditedi o kgile a dinao tsofatsa ka lebalo le lebelo le tsitsibanya mmele kgile a dinao a re bone jalo ba isimola jalo kwa morago mona wa Chalasi ba romela kgile tele kwa pele ba batla jalo le ka bona la Keita a re bone Keita o tla dira mo kgileng le ka go ya kwa pela ba thula kwa morago Cupido a ba thula kwa morago Cupido ya go tlosa le tatlelo re le ka re fa gona le mona yo semeletse mo letsatsi la gompieno ke ene le ka bona la Keita Tika o bona jalo le ka bona la Ogbelo romela ka kwa botlhaba ja lebala ba le ka go ya ka go tswa ka kwa botlhaba romela mo lepokosela le tene ba thula kwa morago ka tlhogo the sensational Jaden Adams Ogbelo fela ba le gone seila ba kgona go sireletsa kgwele ya ba ba motshameka makgwakgwa motshereganyare phoso ke ya gago wena motshereganyare phoso ke ya gago wena Penhamida tshamekela setlhopha sa bosetšhaba sa naga ya Tunisia le kawana le Hamida ngwaga di 30 fela Sundowns ga ba tle go tshoswa ke modumo ba tlwaetse maemo a ntseng jana ga ise bo magorogo mašwa ga ise bo mafikizolo ba itse gore go tlhokagala mo metshamekong e tshwana le se Mamelodi Sundowns Keita wa go papathega ka lebelo tshenyalo theko morago Mremvula a bone kgwele ba putsa Sundowns a bita kwa tabola mo motshamekong ba ne ba tshwere ba setse ba le mo borokong ba ne ba tshwere ba setse ba le mo borokong fela ba nna le sego Sundowns e ita kota 𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐝𝐢 go mathata ka fa letlhakoreng le la molemo la Africa la setlhopha sa Mamelodi Sundowns go mathata tšheleditse folaga monna wa Makrene Gurari le ene o tswa tšhalo kwa nageng ya Tunisia romela kwa pele fela phala ya lla ke teba ka tšhalo gore kgwele ba ye go tloswa sešha ga se lekgetlho la ntlha a dira metshameko ya kontinente le yone wa e dira monna yo na le gone kwa metshamekong ya AFCON banna ba le bane bona mamotsamo iketlileng o batlile go utlwa ka nna monna wa Ronald Williams o batlile go utlwa ka nna Ronald Williams ke mora ke re maloba ke maabane a re bone go molemo o e tshamekela tšhalo mo tseleng ya ga Jaden gata wa retologa wa intsha a re bone tšhalo Divine o e ba mo tseleng ya ga Thessalles Mrembula the sensational a ba romela kwa pele fela Hamadi a ba le gone a sireletsa tšhalo kwa morago the Peace of Africa re bone ba go a jaanong kwa pele bone Konate ba ba tlhokisa lebelo la go tlhasela Mamelodi Sundowns fa ba tsa kgwele Sundowns ba bua ka lebelo go ba tswalla ditsela le lebelo le ba tlwaelegileng ka lone a re bone monaka ka Nigeria Ogbelu ba e romela le tele wa kwa pele wa gana 𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐝𝐻 ka kgara o e ba mo tseleng a re bone thapelo e tshamekela mo go 𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐝𝐻 e be mo ita mo diretheng ba go e ba fa tswang gone 𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐝𝐻 ba romela kwa pele gone kwa morago ba gana nnanya banyana menwana phezulu a ba gana go molemo kwa morago Ogbelu magadi le 22 mona o tswang kwa nageng ya Nigeria le ka bana la Ogbelu a re bone 𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐝𝐻 e be tswa tšhalo ba itsa ba e romela le tele kwa pele go tswa tšhalo naga ya bona sireletsa kwa morago ga ba sireletsa kwa morago go molemo ona tswile le kawana la fa ba sa motlhokomele Thano ba go e tlhoma 𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐝𝐻 Ay, Romela haba sireletsa Brayan Leon a tswa kwa pele metsi a simolola go tshera mo tlong Sundowns ba simolola jaanong go ka lwa ka mekotla le mo leboteng tshireletso e manontlhotlho ya ga Ronald Williams Kantele kgwele itaile kota ga jaana sireletsa Ronald Williams ga maga le Brayan Leon ya go tloswa kgwele e tloswa jala ke Keita a ba romela kgwele ntle thula ka tlhogo fela bena kgwele senang kaelo ya go tsela ka kwa ntle fetoga jalo go nna tatlhelo ya go tloswa kgwele o ile tatlhelo ka Divine Lunga re bone 𝐄𝐬𝐩𝐞𝐫𝐚𝐬𝐬 sireletsa kwa morago ba simolola jaanong go tleka go tsenya kgatelelo mo setlhopheng sa Mamelodi Sundowns setlhopha sa Esperance de Tunis ba simolola go leka go tsenya jalo kgatelelo ba etse botlhokwa jwa go nosa o le fa gae kgotsa botlhokwa jwa go fenya o le fa gae fa o eta o kapa wa tshameka maleka 𝐄𝐬𝐩𝐞𝐫𝐚𝐬𝐬 motsereganya re ga o kitla o se bona seo ga re o tla se bona kwa Lagos esemfa ba go e tlhoma kgwile e tlhomiwa jalo ke the Brazilians bona boetedi jwa baagi jwa balatedi jwa barati ba setlhopha sa the Beast of Africa tsholofelo ke gore Loftus e tla be e tletse fela jaana le yone mo bekeng e tlang tsholofelo ke gore ba tla goroga ka boyelo mo bekeng e tlang ka la matlhatso kwa Hatfield kwa Loftus Versfeld romela le telele monna o le tshwenyo tshetlho a re bone monna yo a re bone o tla dira mo kgweleng eo le ka bona le la tetano a ba romela ko teng ya kgakala ona ba tla jalo Adramante Konate magadi le 21 total 19 19-year-old belegelwa jalo ka kwa Cote d'Ivoire ba go e tlosa kwa morago the Brazilians 1-2 ya boraro wa intsha Tebsam Rembul gore setswe jalo kwa Harmony pele ga ana le ba SuperSport United fitile ko mago le the Master Chef gamba go le Thapelo Morena tsamayane ba simela ba fitileng kwa Foreisetata kwa Hlomolefentseki kwa kila dira gone mokaedi wa Stegeneke kwa Safa fela motho ya tsere bala metsotso le metlhano gore re go kgwamoa re go nwa metsi ba e go ithuna dinta mo metsotsong le metlhano e latelang Siso Mabera o tla go isa ko
Last 10 minutes, most definitely belonging to Esperance in the way of momentum, creating some lovely chances again. The movement of Florian Daniel in and around that final third, really problematic for Mamelodi Sundowns in defense, including having the best chance of the game, having rattled the post. Set piece here at Mamelodi Sundowns, worth noting. For Esperance, did have 3 days extra rest coming into this game after the 0-0 scoreline against Etoile Sahel. Well, Mamelodi Sundowns did play Durban City in that 1-0 win. Lost 3 games back away to Stade Malien Mamelodi Sundowns, whilst for Esperance they lost 10 matches back. That was to Stade Malien as well, back on the 26th of February. For that, lost to Monastir away from home. Now, Sundowns working it all the way back to Ronwen Williams. Well, that lost to Monastir was in January for Esperance. So in the year 2026, they've only lost 2 matches so far. Keep in mind, Mamelodi Sundowns want to be the third side to have the beating of them in 2026, want to be the first side to beat them at this venue. Before the loss to Monastir that I mentioned in January, hadn't lost a match, Esperance, until all the way going back to September when they lost to Stade Tunisien. That was away from home as well. They haven't lost at home in this campaign. So here they are with Konate. The challenge on the far side. Allende looking for Brian Leon Muniz. Well, it is physical out on that far side, and man who's come off worse than that coming together is 𝐶𝐬𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐻 out on the far side. Well, this Bwali looking for the nifty footwork that may lead to a penalty. Nothing wrong with that challenge, however, from Marcelo Allende. Well, this will be a slight worry. Mudau has since stayed down here, and now I think gingerly be making his way back up onto his feet. Seems fine. 𝐿𝐻𝐻. 𝐶𝐬𝐻𝐻. 𝐶𝐸, the Brazilian, born in Porto Alegre, Brazil. And has done well. Mokoena driving forward here. 𝐶𝐸 giving chase. Mokoena's done well here. Powerful run as he releases Leon Muniz on that far side. Now Leon Muniz. That options, two of them infield here. Only had eyes for goal. In the end, won't test Ben Said. Well, pace. Needed to have his head up and be aware of the movement around him then, Leon Muniz, but beautifully started that passage of play by Debo Mokoena then. The powerful run straight down the middle. Talking to then for Brian Leon. Now, pull over the top and no problems this time for Ronwen Williams and company, even with the attention of Florian Daniel. So if you are joining us late in this first half, there'll be 2 minutes added on to the end of the first 45 here. Did have a period of dominance between the 30th and 40th minutes. Did Esperance. Outside of that, Mamelodi Sundowns will be happy with the way things have fared for the most part. Maybe one or two concerns in the way of Leon Muniz. Again, other players that are having quite an evening here from an Esperance point of view. 𝐶𝐬𝐻𝐻 out wide on the right side. Konate in the middle of the park, as well as 𝐿𝐻𝐻 and Daniel. Defensively, Togai and Selassie have kept things nice and solid. Sundowns looking for their best moment in the front foot. Morena, space to turn. Allende. Sales. Again, very quick to get numbers behind the ball here. Forcing Sundowns to keep going backwards in order to find a bit of space and trying to create some openings between the lines to play through. Nicely done by Ronwen Williams in finding Mokoena. Does have that ability of finding that pass that breaks the lines at times, does Ronwen Williams. Way more touches with his feet than with his hands in the latter years of his career. Way more. Adams. Don't mind this. Mamelodi Sundowns eating away at the clock, managing the situation in as far as this away leg. Seconds now remaining in this first half, and as Ronwen Williams goes long, Mustafa Horbal from Algeria brings what's been an exciting first half to an end here. And well, in front of a good turnout here at the 𝐿𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻 𝐴𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻 Stadium. It's Mamelodi Sundowns that will be happy to have survived one or two scares, some serious scares here, where even Ronwen Williams had to come up with a good save, and well, the home side also hit the post through the powerful running of Daniel, who has been troublesome. It's been exciting to watch here in this first 45 minutes. It's Esperance no, Mamelodi Sundowns no, with 45 to go in the second.